And I will okay, so thank you. Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be with you all. And this is part of our, we call it the webinars on of the SHE-EDE, in which we are inviting wonderful women into our space to talk about subjects that are really related to all that we are doing in the courses of the SHE-EDE, the Eco-Village Design Education for women with maternal values, with matriarchal values, with maternal gift economy values. So we have created this format, which is a little bit different than the usual EDE, because we are combining also matriarchal studies, we are combining maternal gift economy, and also we are connecting to the goddess, to Mother Nature, to ceremonials. But the basics is really that we are holding the pillars of matriarchal societies in combination with the Gaia education dimensions, which are very similar to each other, and similar also to the ecological movement. So it's really interesting to be together and talk about these things because they're very important. We have to rewrite our story, her story. And Letecia, welcome into our webinar, into our talk that we're going to have today. And let me share the screen so that I can give you a few informations about this first one, which is part one. And it's, I would like to remind you that we are in full moon. Today, we're going to have also an eclipse, and we are shifting from the serpent here to the horse here. So we are shedding our skin and we are getting our fiery horse, and we're going to start our new year with Letecia. And Letecia Layson is a high priestess of the Dianic religion. And she will be talking in this part of the goddess religion in America. Next, on the March Friday the 13th, she will be talking of her life and praxis as a high priestess. So this first part is more like a general introduction and also as a testimony of all her work as a high priestess, and also testimony of a woman that has lived important moments in a movement that is to be remembered. And so we are very honored that she's here with us. Let me go to the next one. So this is going to be our program. So this is our welcome. I tried to speak a little bit about our future courses or SHE-EDEs. Yes, for the time being, we just came back from Colombia, Nashira, and future courses is going to be probably, they will be put out in a few months because we have to reorganize, but we are planning to go around the world, hopefully. So we will start by lighting a candle. I usually have a little moment, a grounding meditation. And then I will present you Letecia and then give her, the space to talk about the goddess reawakening, the Dianic tradition for the 21st century. And she will have 30 minutes. And then we will just go into breakout rooms and just have a little exercises together. And a sharing circle at the end with a checkout. And you can also, at that point, if you have questions, we will have also maybe a little space for you for questions. Or maybe we can open it up next time because it's going to be more about, the Dianic tradition. So I set, I don't know if you can see me. If you don't see me, well, I will be lighting a candle. So you just take a deep breath close your eyes. You've been probably running around all day. I don't know what time is it in where you are, but we're always coming from moments of we're rushing from one place to the other, and then all of a sudden we sit and we finally are sitting hopefully in front of a desk and not in front of, in the car or with a phone. And so just ground yourself, just take a deep breath. Let it all go and just clear your mind. Put it all behind you and just imagine that you have just a beautiful candle light in front of you. This is the beginning of spring. It's the beginning of a new moment. We are starting a new phase of the year in which, all imagination, intuitions, and future plans can be set. So we give thanks to that we are here together. We give thanks for the opportunity to be together. I'm so grateful to all of you that you're here with us. And we reclaim feminine power, wisdom, and knowledge for all our relations. Blessed be and blessed do. So thank you all for being here in this place together. And here I would like just to present in a few words, because there might be a lot more to say about Letecia. And just tell you that Letecia is a Filipina feminist, futurist, priestess of Morphogenesis form coming into being, High Priestess of Diana, Priestess Hierophant in Fellowship of Isis, Temple of Isis in Los Angeles. And Letecia is one of the founding mothers of the Center of Babaylan Studies, a member of International Feminists for Gift Economy, and the Modern Matriarchal Studies Network. In 1971, Susanna Budapest led the first ritual with a small group of women, Susan B. Anthony, Coven number 1, and called their new religion Dianic Witchcraft. In A Witch Like Me by Sirona Knight, Susanna says she passed the community to Ruth Barrett, who passed the community to Letecia. Today, the community, the Circle of Heredia, continues under the leadership of Sir Edwin Rosebrice. I hope I have said it correctly. In this short talk, Letecia will share her story and as shared by her elders and teachers, and an introduction to the goddess religion, the Dianic Tradition. So welcome to Letecia Layson. We are so honored to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Sabina. I'm really happy to be here, very excited to be able to add to the network of your community and offer whatever wisdom I can to this growing, a very exciting movement that you're creating. I'm setting a timer because I can meander and go on. So I want to make sure that we have time for you to break out into your rooms and to have a discussion. If you've arrived in this room, it says to me that there is something about the word the goddess, religion, women's spirituality, priestess that you find intriguing or excited about, may have some experience. And I'm going to share from a place where I feel like I need to contextualize it because, as Sabina said, in the United States, there was a very unique expression that started, that began in the 60s with feminism. And during that time, out of that, with women's consciousness raising groups, women began to find the need to have their own expression, their own spirituality, and some their own religion. So I'm going to give you a few definitions about the difference between why I choose to actually call it a goddess religion. Sometimes I interchange it with a tradition because it is a tradition. We have common rituals and liturgy that we use, mythology and ways of being in the world, and a spirituality. Those three things are distinct. They're not necessarily interchangeable. So let's just start with this word religion. You know, the word religion, and I'm reading this out of Women Rights, Women's Mysteries, Creating Ritual in the Dianic Tradition by Ruth Rhiannon Barrett, who was my teacher in the Dianic Tradition. The very word religion makes many feminists and goddess-identified women uncomfortable. They fled the religions of their childhood, having experienced those religions as oppressive and misogynistic. However, the word religion from the Latin religio means relinking or reunion. Taking this meaning to its truest sense, the term woman-identified religion or goddess religion is appropriate as the goddess and her women are united. As they remember goddess-identified spiritual practices by cellular memory or not, and intuitively reveal an emerging body of newborn ancient ritual traditions. Although the term woman-identified has many meanings, for Dianics, it means identifying the female as the primary reference for life, an ancient perception long associated with the Neolithic peoples of old Europe, which Maria Gimbutas brought into the spotlight of contemporary archaeology in the mid-1970s. So, spirituality is more personal. It's the thing that I have inside me. I might share that with other people, but it doesn't have a structure, as in the main religions that can marry and bury recognized by the state. Your state, in the United States, it would be our federal government. In your country, it might be something that would be called different. But it's something that actually gives you the rights to marry and bury, that sort of links you to all of the, what we would consider patriarchal structures. Okay. And then tradition is often used in relationship to just ancestral traditions, family traditions, things that we do, things that we repeat over time that have deep and meaningful expressions that help us to remember who we are, both individually and together. All of those three things, when it's referenced to the goddess, has to do with a devotion and reverence to she who is all things. And when I talk about the goddess religion, I define the goddess as my teachers do, as this multifaceted expression of one energy that not only is earth-based, she's cosmic. So she pervades all of the universe and the universes of universes. So we have a creation story, which I'll share in a moment, in the Dianic tradition, so you can get a sense and a feel of how that writing began to emerge and the perceptions of women as they began to recognize that when I look in the mirror, I want to see and identify divinity as that face that I see in myself, that she is in me. And it's very hard in patriarchal traditions to actually see a male in the mirror that's you. So I want to invite you to actually do this practice, to actually see her. And this is not to say that you are, quote unquote, the goddess, but the spark of her lives in you. That each of us is a reflection of the dynamic creative power and source that in a goddess religion says that everything that is living and non-living that you see is part of her. And she creates not from her hands like God did, creating things outside of himself. She created from her own body, from the thought that she was herself into this expression of who she was and her creative being of wanting to create more beauty and diversity in the universes of universes. And that's part of how we came to be. Okay, would you put up the first slide? Because I think this is pertinent. I wanted to actually give you some perspective of why I say the goddess reawakening as opposed to the goddess remembered, as opposed to the goddess rediscovered. I use that term much like many of our ancestors, regardless of where you were on the planet. We had ancient astronomers who looked at the stars and charted, believe it or not, before we had telescopes, before we had computers, repeated thousands of years and projected what that would look like. Here what we have is Demetra George, two of her illustrations from her book, Mysteries of the Dark Moon. I want you to take that in for a second, because what I think is important to identify is that women are lunar beings. We are lunar beings. We have, a 28-day cycle in our menses. We actually wax and wane with the moon. There's been many scientific writing about what that embodiment really is as woman in relationship to the moon and fertility. So when you look at this chart, you actually see that Demetra George is saying that there is a 38,000 year cycle of the precession in this astronomical place as a lunar goddess, that she is actually moving around in the heavens. And when you go down to the center, she actually aligns it with the moon in its cross-quarter days. But then you actually begin to be able to actually look at how plants are growing in that cycle. And then you can actually transfer that onto the 8 holy days. So this is the way in which we can actually cycle with the moon. But what you will notice in this very small image between 5000 BCE and 2000 CE, 5,000 years of the dark moon goddess, where she was sleeping, just like the dark moon. She never went away, because there is no thing that is not goddess. No thing that is not goddess. She never went away. As a multifaceted jewel, imagine wherever you are in the world, think about your own folk tales, legends, or artifacts. That was the face of the goddess, that the people of that land expressed itself. The goddess showed herself to the people through the land and the plants and the animals. So for 5,000 years, there appeared to be that she had gone away. But like us, she needed to rest. She went to sleep. And then about the year 2000, you see that we're starting around to the new cycle. We are living in an incredible time, a time of growth, a time that is a new cycle. So we're still seeing the remnants of the old cycle. The old guard is still holding on. But if you're looking at this along with all of our ancestors, you'll see that we're part of history in the making right now. And it's our responsibility and obligation. It's also our joy to be able to contribute in such a dynamic way to a positive, sustainable, peaceful future. Okay. Can we have the next slide? I'm actually going very quickly through these so that we can have the time that we need to have a little bit of a discussion with some questions. There is so much to say about women's spirituality and how it emerged out of second wave feminism for those 20 or 30 years, starting in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I came into the goddess movement in 1990, 91, when Maria Gimbutas did a book launch for her third book in a trilogy called The Civilization of the Goddess, The World of Old Europe. Now, what was unique about this specific book itself is that Maria Gimbutas created a theory that was based on a very dynamic, multi-field review of civilization. It wasn't just one aspect. It wasn't just farming or wars or kings and queens. That's not what she looked at. She looked at everything that it took for the civilization itself and found that there were common elements. More importantly, she found that underneath the Bronze Age, there were more goddess or female figurines that were found. Now, she wasn't the first person who actually called these figures goddesses. I think it was James Mellert. And then it went out of fashion. But some people called them dolls. In fact, if you travel around, you may still see them identified as female dolls. They'll call them dolls. But at this point, Maria Gimbutas said that no, this is a goddess civilization. It was peaceful. It was thriving. And the last place that she talked about it being thriving in Greece was on Crete. She talked about Crete a lot. Now, we will see remnants of the goddess religion everywhere around Europe. Actually, if you take Maria Gimbutas's theory and you look at all cultures around the world, you will see remnants of this female goddess, women and children at the center of the culture. And you can clearly see I'm not European. In fact, my DNA bears it out. I have absolutely no European blood. So the question is, why am I doing this research? Because it required me to actually know a lot about European history, which is not my people's history at all. It was, but the important thing was that I am working in the United States and working with women in the United States. And what we share is this goddess civilization, regardless of what our ethnicity is, regardless of where we are in the world. I wanted to mention, in order for us to actually have a sense of this lunar cycle that's happening with this 38,000 years, that if you haven't already found a lunar astrologer, I can recommend to, and I will make sure that that maybe Sabina, when we put up the recording, will put references of the things that I am talking about and contact that you can find them. But Vicki Noble, who created the Mother Peace Tarot and wrote Shakti Woman. And in Shakti Woman, she states we're lunar beings. She has lots of evidence in there. And she is a lunar astrologer. So you can work with her. And there's another woman named Yolanda Valenzuela. Her website is Cycles and Symbols. And Yolanda was my mentor when I became a priestess. So I'll talk a little bit more about her and the work that she did with me in the next webinar. Both women are incredible. Back to Maria Gimbutas. The work, when I came, I was able to actually be at the book launch. I was there. I met through one of the producers of the event, Star Goody, I was able to meet Maria Gimbutas at a birthday. So Star Goody and another woman named Noelle Lightborn was taking me on an adventure in Crete, around Greece. I think I was there for, the three of us traveled for, I don't know, might have been 3 weeks or something. And every day they took me to different archaeological sites. They told me about the site itself, and then they told me the goddess stories that you won't hear if you're not actually traveling with a woman or with someone who knows the goddess stories, the pre-patriarchal goddess stories. You may not be familiar, most of you may be, is Riane Eisler, who wrote The Chalice and the Blade, and she took Maria Gimbutas's theory and applied it in a systems way to contemporary time that took it out of the academic archaeological field so that we could study it. And now what Riane Eisler calls it is the partnership way. So she looked at she still has her website with lots of other books that she's written about how this work and how she is educating people and changing their worldview to work together, men and women, to have this now partnership way, as opposed to the dominator way of patriarchy. One of the bits of interest that you might have is if you're interested in historical fiction, Mary Mackey wrote a trilogy that actually takes Maria Gimbutas's work. The first book is called The Year the Horses Came. I thought it was appropriate for the Year of the Horse today. But The Year the Horses Came, and what she writes about is the transition of how the patriarchal culture actually rode their horses into the goddess culture and what that was like. So it's kind of like it's a fantasy, it's a novel. It's very profound because it has you thinking, oh, what might that have been like to actually meet these warring people, and here you were peaceful, worshiping the goddess and not wanting to actually war at all. So it was a beautiful beautiful illustration and a remembering. And actually seeing how it happened in the fantasy story, maybe you would be able to back yourself out of that and actually reclaim all of those goddess elements in your own life. Could you put up, I'm going very fast. Could you put up the next slide, which is the goddess timeline? So I'm skipping forward to, because there were so many books and rituals that were done, large gatherings. There was just a plethora of goddess music and women's music, but this goddess timeline was created by Constance Tippett, and she, when she discovered the goddess, she realized, wait a minute, there are so many of these. I want to see them as a timeline. So every inch of this, and it's quite a large piece. And she also has 3 insets that are out where she shows more goddesses. She hand drew each of these goddesses that were taken from images of archaeological photographs so that she could put them on the timeline. And she shows you that it goes back 30,000 years, that the goddess has been around for 30,000 years, a herstory that we are now beginning to reclaim. And would you put up the second slide, which is Max Dashow? So it's not just the goddess, because not everybody, there are lots of ways in which the goddess lives. For example, the living tradition in in Tibetan Buddhism, Tara is the mother of Buddha in that tradition. Each place has their own sort of origin story of how Buddha came to be, et cetera, et cetera. But Tara lives there. So Max Dashow, in her Suppress History's archives, if you haven't found your way there, Max has 30,000 slides of actual women's history and art. And she has them organized in a way that you would be able to find shamans, priestesses, by region, by history. She's written 2 books. The first one was about witchcraft and the witch burning, the historical terrain of that. The second one, I think, is on Greece, if I'm not mistaken. But it's beautiful. I might add, unfortunately, the Goddess Timeline is only available in the United States. However, there is a book that I'll make sure that I give you a link to it that's called The Language of Ma, 40,000 Years of Goddess Herstory. And these are images that Anine Vandermeer went around to all of these. She was an art historian. She went and traveled around and took her own photographs. So this book, this giant book, is filled with goddess images. It is just so profound. And you will be able to find that in Europe easily, I'm pretty sure. She has an institute, so I'll make sure to give you that link. Now, part of what I want to also say about this is in the early days, there weren't programs that you got trainings in. Every woman was her own researcher. And in the circles that I was in, one of the circles was called Women Mysteries of the Ancient Futurist Sisterhood. And we talked about doing psychic archaeology because we had tiny little remnants of maybe something that somebody had found in an obscure place about a goddess. And then we would imagine what that was like. And then we would have a guided meditation that would describe the land where she was, and maybe some of the elements in that tiny piece that they would say would be her attributes, where she was found, what they thought her worship was like. And then we would dance and allow that goddess energy to infuse us as an oracular expression to stimulate our bodies to remember. Now, here's what I'm going to get a little geeky. You know, women and men have an X chromosome, a mitochondrial chromosome that is a direct line to the original mother. So if you can imagine, that is not a human DNA. It's actually a different organelle that's inside of you. But that X chromosome goes back to the original carbon-based animal on the planet, have these mitochondrial DNA, which holds the memory, and it's only female. There is no Y mitochondria. It's all female, 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 this long history of female memory. So the question you need to ask yourself is, can you hear what this little tiny being, we have thousands of them inside of us, what they're saying to you, what they remember, what can you feel them inside of you? These are the things that actually help you live. They stimulate all of the processes to convert food that we eat into energy so that we can live. They're everywhere. I'll try to put a reference there so you can look that up. But that's what we talk about when we're talking about the mitochondrial Eve, who came out of Africa, that they've identified in anthropology and archaeology as being the original mother. And her mitochondrial DNA traces itself out of Africa, and that's how they trace everyone back to this one specific Homo. And since Jen is here, I'm going to call her a Homo donon, which is a gifter, as opposed to a Homo sapien, which is a thinker. So that's remarkable. And in this place now, it's taking me to my tradition now. So I want to go to all of these things sort of funnel into, again, going back to the 1970s with Zuzana Budapest. Would you put up the last slide, Sabina? Thank you. No, I'm sorry, the one with Z's book. There you go. So I'm fast forwarding to the Dianic tradition in the 21st century. And the Dianic tradition arose during the time of the 1970s with Zuzana Budapest. And she was a radical feminist, a political activist. And she was born in Budapest, Hungary. Her mother was an artist who created art that much of it, she said, was dedicated to the goddess. In Hungary, there is, even in their state, in their current country, is dedicated to their original goddess. And I can't even begin to say it. Her name starts with a B. I'll try to make sure that I give the reference correctly to Sabina, so we'll put it up with the recording. Zuzana Budapest took all of those things, and she was a mother. And so one of the things that Zuzana Budapest always says, there's only two kinds of people in the world, mothers and their children. And that means that both males and females are children of the goddess, children of a mother, where mothers and children are at the center of civilization. And that brings us to many different places. But I want to just say a little bit about the Dianic tradition. The Dianic tradition is a goddess and a female-centered, earth-based feminist dominion of the Wiccan religion that was revived and inspired by author and activist Zuzana Budapest in the early 1970s. The Dianic tradition is a vibrantly creative and evolving women's mystery tradition that is inclusive of all women. Our practices include celebrating and honoring the numerous physical, emotional, and life cycle passages that women share by having been born female. The contemporary Dianic tradition recognizes the greater or lesser effects and influences of the dominant culture on every aspect of women's lives. Since 1971, the Dianic movement has inspired and provided healing rituals to counter the effects of living in patriarchy, and has worked to understand, deconstruct, and heal from the dominant culture wherein we live and practice our faith. We define patriarchy as the use of power over thinking and action to oppress others, both institutionally and within the personal sphere. Excuse me, I need to get this. Okay. So at the time that the Dianic tradition was actually arising, so was the goddess religion in general. So I want to just make note that also in the 1970s, Starhawk began her work and her book that was published with the Spiral Dance. And that book actually is also feminist with the goddess at the center, but her work includes men and women. The Fellowship of Isis also started in the 1970s with a sister and a brother out of the UK that was dedicated to Isis. Now, why is Isis important as a goddess? Because Isis was brought out of Egypt during the Greco-Roman imperialism and brought all across old Europe into Spain, Germany. You see her in Italy, Isis, who was syncretized on local goddesses. So you have Isis Fortuna, you have Isis Aphrodite, you have Isis Babo. So Isis is probably the most traveled goddess in the world. She's also she has been called she of 10,000 names. There is no other goddess that has that name. So in the way that I originally defined the goddess as a multifaceted jewel, Isis, with all her many faces, and some of them are male. So like the Filipino tradition, in the Filipino culture, there's only one pronoun. And when you read the translations and the recordings about our original stories, our origin stories, and our myths, our gods, depending on who translated, may have been male and may have been female, because the colonizers or the translators who are translating it into another language did not understand that for us, it was contextualized, that these deities are energetic forms that have no gender assignment. They're primordial, they're essential, they're sourced from all the elements in the universe. And it's only humans that have to anthropomorphize everything to try to make it look like us. But indigenous people oftentimes have no gender assigned to their deities, and they might change in different stories, different ways. So I think that brings us to the 21st century and how the Dianic tradition has shaped the pillars of the Dianic tradition are the goddess religion itself, which has rituals and symbols that are common in all of the traditions. So since 1970, and each of the places that have the Dianic tradition around the world all practice very similarly in the way that the Holy Book of Women's Mysteries has been identified. Most recently, Z has reissued her book, The Holy Book of Women's Mysteries, that started out in a very small, this is what it looked like when it came out, this very small, single little booklet in 1970, maybe 71 or 74, and this is what it looks like now. So it now has been flushed out. She has color images in it, but it includes everything that you would want to know about the Dianic tradition. It teaches you magic. We're witches. We identify as witches based and rooted in the old religion. Sabina and I were having a conversation, and she was saying to me, I don't need a wand and all of those things to make magic. And that is actually the way in which magic was taught to us. The old religion is that you're sourcing from the universal energies, the earth energies, and every element around you. You become the vessel, the instrument to move that energy. The reason that we use lots of symbolic things is to help our memory. And also, when you have hundreds of people involved in your ritual, they need to see something. Humans need to see things to actually get a sense that something's happening. So some of it is a little bit performative, but the question really is, does it work? Is it ritualistic? Is it magic? And we work magic. We work women's magic in the Dianic tradition. There are other Wiccan traditions, there are other goddess traditions that use a binary male and female expression, but our cosmology involves a birthing expression of she who is all things. And she births things into being. She doesn't just make them or manifest them. She brings them into being because she's giving them life. It means that when you bring something in your creations, you're giving your creations life. You may not have birthed children from your own loins, but you have birthed projects and creations yourself. So to link it even more, the question was, how is that relevant in the 21st century? Well, feminism, one of my really favorite books is, I think it's called, it's by Bell Hooks, Feminism is for Everybody. And the sort of short of it is that feminism is conscious choice about women and children at the center, basically, where it's women are empowered and women are choice making. The Dianic tradition really fits well with modern matriarchal studies because, you know, modern matriarchal studies is about women and children at the center as well, with a cosmology that involves the goddess and being rooted to the land. The maternal gift economy also fits well in my tradition, which was why I was very attracted. And, you know, I don't come from a religion of conversion. I'm not here to convert you to the goddess religion. I'm here to inform you, to help you expand your mind, to use these sources that we're going to put up for you, to ask your own questions. Because we have been raised in patriarchy. Most of us have been educated in patriarchy, and it's both our obligation and responsibility to actually extract the internalized patriarchy that has been embedded in us through all of the systems that we use of education, of politics, of the economy. Every system continues to actually try to convince us that it's the only way to see the world is through the eyes of patriarchy. And that's simply not true. All you have to do is consider looking at, I use this example, looking at the Aboriginal people in Australia. They have a 60,000 years of a culture. They have distinct roles of males and females. Honestly, in any matriarchal culture from the indigenous point of view, women's work is women's work. Men have no business. And women actually get a chance to decide what's going to happen about war because they're birthing those children. It is our right to be able to decide, do we go to war or not? How we go to war or not? But this is the challenge in the 21st century. And I want you to consider this. Do you have elders? Not teachers, but do you have wise elders? Not a wise crone. Do you have elders? People who've dedicated their life to the soul work of the culture, to the soul work of the people, to help you as an individual blossom. Not to try to teach you something so that you get it like they got it. They want you to contribute the thing that you came to contribute. Not to be them, but you came for a reason. And you came to do something to help this world be a better place. So the question you want to ask in the 21st century is, what is your purpose? If you haven't figured that out, this is a good time to start thinking about that. At the end of the day, if you laid it down, when I in the next webinar, I'll talk about my journey. I thought that was the way life was because it's just the only way I know. But I found out that it's not. that most people aren't given a purpose. They don't know that they're supposed to be doing something until much later, and then they seek what their purpose is. I never had to seek my purpose. I had a community around me that supported me to blossom into who you see in front of you. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was all roses. It wasn't. But I hope that you find this very quick sort of flow so that you could find out how all of this information supported me as a priestess. This is a really quick thing. I've been doing the work here with the goddess for 30 years. 30 years and 30 minutes. That's not a lot of time to be able to describe how much effort went into extricating thoughts and ideas and conversations and with real people. But I hope it sort of sparks your interest, and I'll provide some resources. And if you have questions, Sabina said that we might be able to answer some of them in the next session. And I know that there are some questions that Sabina thought would be good for you to discuss today.
Yes, I mean, our idea with, do you see the screen? So
Yes, we can see.
this is part of
Yeah.
the bibliography that we will send you if you are already subscribed to our newsletter. You will receive this as part of our next webinar with Letecia. Otherwise, if you can please put your email in this chat, we will make sure that you get these information. So we have some bibliography for you, and we will send also the other titles that Letecia just sort of mentioned. I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to just show you very quickly. I don't know, Letecia, if you want to say a few words about it. I mean, these are the quadrants that we use in the SHE-EDE. So we have the 4 dimensions of the ecological Gaia education's dimensions. And on the other hand, it is compared to the matriarchal dimensions. And they're very similar. And actually, we are moving in this world in the 21st century in reconnecting to these old matriarchal values. I mean, it is the ecological dimension in the Gaia education in the matriarchal societies. They are actually intrinsic because they are all agrarian agricultural societies in which Mother Earth, the connection to the land and to every element of the planet are embedded in their culture. But the other elements, I mean, the cultural sacred society of the goddess, this is something that is really deep matriarchal dimension. And in Gaia education, we try also in the SHE-EDE to bring that out as part of our journey. In the social motherhood in the social dimension is the cultural model of a society. And in the economic, we have the gift economy, the maternal gift economy. So all of these elements are little by little becoming part of the ecological movement and becoming part of our sort of great turning awareness. And this is really important that we're bringing them together. The reason why we're so honored to have Letecia here is because she's a high priestess. I mean, the sacredness, what she's been telling us about the sacredness of the universe, it's really the deep dimension of matriarchal societies. And this is what it is, talking about matriarchal paradigm shift. This is so important that we sort of get into that. And how are we going to translate all of this into, the 21st century? Well, this is our challenge. This is really a challenge. And now our idea was to create breakout rooms and have you discuss for 10 minutes. How do you bring the goddess into your life? And what action will you take to embody the matriarchal shift to happen? And what is your personal spiritual practice? I mean, we can put these questions into the chat, and I will create some breakout rooms, and you will have 10 minutes to just share with your partner these questions, and then you will come back and maybe we can share, what you are, what you shared in your room. So let me organize. Can you maybe please let me take the questions so that you can I can put them in the chat for you to use. Okay, give me a moment and I will put it here so that you have the 3 questions. Is it going? Wait, let me do it. And then I will put you in breakout rooms. Is it going? I don't know why it's not going. It's not taking. Okay, here they are. So you have the questions into chat for you, and I will just go into breakout rooms of 2 people. So you will just click on so we are, how many are we? Let's do 7. Okay, here you are. So you can open the sessions and go into the room. We will give you 10 minutes and then you can come back. You didn't go in?
No, my internet just started. That's okay.
Okay, so let's see what we have. I was checking if there was anybody by itself. No, I think everybody's. Angela's with Francesca, Jennifer. Yes, everybody's there. Session, Maria. So you're not. What do you think? Okay,
Really nice.
let me first stop the recording.
Sure.
Not work. Okay, wonderful. So this is the time to share what you've shared in your little group. So if anybody wants to start, just sharing some of your sharings so that we can all acknowledge all the wonderful work that you've done in couples, but then we can get as much as we can. And Letecia, you were also in a group. You jumped in. I love it. Okay, great. So who wants to share? You just unmute yourself and go.
I would like to share something that Angela said to me, because she wrote about the fact that in South America, goddesses sometimes don't have a face, because and this show their totality in some way, their divinity. And also, this is also in Paleolithic Venus as a the multiple Venus of the Paleolithic, and in some way, this idea that the goddess doesn't have a face show her divinity, but at the same time shows that all of us could have her face in some way. Our face could be her face, all our face. And I found it very, very exciting that all of us are a sparkle, as Letecia said, a sparkle light of her. And so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. Angela, you want to say something?
Well, let me show you something. Show you.
Canceteura.
Yeah, but the thing about Cansateura is that the mask meant that they were not human. When they put a mask into one of the archaeological figures, when they came with masks, it meant that they were not human. So they sometimes put masks into animals. That meant that they worship that animal, but when we're talking about that there were no that gods and goddesses can sometimes have no sex, but these were pregnant women breastfeeding and giving birth at the same time with a mask. So that means that there was no doubt that it had to be a woman.
Okay, thank you.
The body was the body with a woman with the mask of a god. With a mask. That means that was not a human being, but it was a goddess because she had a mask, but it was the body of the women.
Wonderful. But how do you, did you try to answer the questions that we asked you to answer, or can you share some of your comments, of your sharings? We had, I don't know if you want to share, how do you bring the goddess into your life? If you bring it into your life, what action are you taking to embody?
We were talking about that with Francesca, but then I came to my goddess, my own goddess, and I said to her that my goddess was the Virgin Mary. And what is the Virgin Mary? Because I talked to her and she makes a lot of miracles.
Wonderful.
So I don't know how the miracles happen, but it must have happened in some way. So that is my goddess.
Thank you. Wonderful. Yes. Can somebody else share? Jennifer Moyles, you want to say something? I'm sorry, I'm just calling you so that we can sort of create a little, you know, so that, do you want to share some of your thoughts? It would be nice.
Sure. I had a nice conversation with Sonia, and I think I shared that I've been searching for some time, to realize that um, uh, I grew up in a very strange paradigm that, a spirituality that didn't make much sense to me, and it took a really long time to be able to articulate that. Um, so certainly through modern matriarchal studies, I'm finding my way into spiritual practice and into making spirituality a very practical part of everyday life. It's also meant tracing some lineage and finding out, who I am, what's the memory and the symbols in my DNA. And Maria Gimbutas has been an incredible influence that just blew my mind open and my heart, because she was a contemporary of my grandmother. They fled the Baltic region at the same time. So I've spent a lot of time pondering her work and actually shaping some of the figurines in clay with my own hands. And yeah, I mean, I can't logically tell you how, but I ended up here on Crete. So it's been quite an astonishing journey, and I don't think I can articulate it in simple terms, but maybe that gives you an idea. Thank you. Big questions to answer in 10 minutes.
Well, you can keep it and, and keep it in you, and then maybe, they will sort of bubble, into into yourself. So, I mean, they're just like sparkles for the future, for this year of the horse. Anybody else that wants to share? Marie, you unmuted yourself. Yes.
Hi. I was with Jen, and we were talking about a little bit about the Catholic Church and how it didn't work. It didn't work for me, it didn't work for her. And but I was sparked by what Angela and Francisca just said and the mass that she showed. And I went quickly into my bedroom, and I want to share a mask with you that I have made years and years and years ago when I was living in California. And I hope you can see it.
Yeah, beautiful.
This is a mask I made for myself, showing my inner life. And I had it ever since then. It's in my bedroom. And yeah, thank you for this wonderful session. And I'm so inspired. And I realized, I was sharing with Jen, I realized I was living during the 70s in California. And while I was studying dance therapy, so in many ways, I've been influenced by the goddess movement myself, but I didn't realize until much, much later, until my mother passed away, and I was beginning to think about the questions of life and death, and I found Mother Mira. So Mother Mira is an avatar, so she's in my life, and I'm connected to the Divine Mother, and I'm also connected to the maternal gift economy and matriarchal studies, and I'm bringing that into the world by offering a seminar in May at the C.G. Jung Society, speaking out about maternal gift economy and matriarchal studies and dance.
Beautiful. Wow.
Thank you. Just send us the information, and we will just spread the word in our newsletter, Mary. So please.
Okay. Okay.
please just send us a few words, and I will maybe write to Letecia, and we will spread the word about your seminar, and we will be coming. Is it in presence or is it in online?
No, it's in presence and it's in German, but I will send you the information.
Okay, well, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to share maybe a few more minutes?
Jen has her hand up.
Jen, and then Bond, right?
Jen, you need to unmute, my friend.
I'll just share quickly that the goddess brought Marie and me together because we haven't seen each other in a long time, and it was just wonderful to see her again and talk about our goddess interests. So
Great, wonderful. Thank you for being here with us.
thank you.
Yes, I do want to say, Jen is someone who actually brought the goddess to the world also. She created platforms for many of the women who are authors and ritualists to be able to actually provide information and knowledge to other people. So thank you so much. Jen is in a book of other foremothers of women's spirituality called The Foremothers of Women's Spirituality. And so we're really honored to have her here with us. And please, we want to invite you to come to our salons at the Maternal Gift Economy Movement.org. They're wonderful. Okay.
Thanks, Letecia. Thank you.
Yeah. Bond, did you want to?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Hi,
did.
Bond.
Hi.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. It's been years, hasn't it?
At least 20.
We're still here.
That's true.
I made it. I never thought I'd live this long, but I attribute that to Goddess. I was one of those lucky women in the world that I discovered Goddess in the early 70s with the original Dianic collectives, covens here in Los Angeles. And Letecia and Ruth Barrett and Z Budapest and Anu Kurlan and all these people were, my cohorts and my teachers, both, So I don't know where I would have been without Goddess. I mean, even what's happening in my country today, Goddess is really my strength. I can't imagine being a woman without Goddess and how important your identity is so wrapped up in Goddess, and getting so I completely, totally erase the patriarchal influences in my life all the time, automatically, because it's not Goddess. So it has helped. She's helped me enormously, and then the witch community of the world and here in LA. It also puts me in kind of a strange place in terms of, unless it's goddess feminism, I really can't relate to it. So if you haven't taken that further step in understanding that we're a two-class system all over the world, and that the patriarchy, particularly right now, as an American, has re-risen here in the last few years. And we're really having to deal with some very frightening and very, venomous male-identified super male, power over male kinds of things going on. And if I notice with some of the young women, I really feel sorry for them because they don't have Goddess, and they don't understand what's wrong, and they feel so alienated and so scared and so confused. So some of my work is, I've been an activist all these years, and I'm a Reichian psychotherapist in private practice for a number of years, from Wilhelm Reich, the German psychoanalyst. And so I make it an effort to connect to women in their 20s and 30s and try to pass on everything I know. I probably tell them about this too, because they're really in bad shape. I really feel bad for them. So Goddess is everything to me. You know, she's everything. So that's pretty much what I have to say. And other than it's really annoying when my personal opinion, when there are groups that talk about Goddess, but they have no concept. They have no understanding of the patriarchy. Yeah, you know, it's like, what, you know, and they leave that out in their theology, and it just doesn't work for me. So it can be very lonely and frustrating, you know, as far as that. So I'm very happy to be among Dianics. Hello, everyone. Hi. So glad to be home. Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your sharing, you know, really, thank you so much. We're very happy and honored that you're here with us. And actually, yes, you know, there is no goddess without, you know, just realizing patriarchy and working with that. This is really fundamental.
Yes.
So, and this is also part of our courses, the SHE-EDE. We always start from, you know, patriarchy, you know, and then we go into, you know, the next step. But patriarchy is fundamental, and thank you for reminding us, because it's really very, very important to say that. So, and there is also Ute that wanted to say, to has a question or wanted to share with us.
Yes, thank you. I want to share something. Yes, I've been on the waves of Goddess about more than 20 years, and I started with Heide in 2003. And yes, and I brought with 9 other women the Matriarchal for Future Festival on the live last year, and I saw some of you at the festival, and it was so amazing, and we were really thrilled that it worked. That the 4 days I thought the goddess is among us, so it was really wonderful. And yes, that I wanted to share. And maybe we will see you in 2 years. We will make the next festival in 2027.
Great.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Yes, a lot of us were there, and it was an amazing festival, and we can't wait to come back in 2027. And really congratulations for all the amazing work, and you know, and we need all of this. We need to create more and more. Letecia, now it's your turn. And you know, we are going into the closure of this webinar, and I think you know, we had, unless there might be maybe another sharing, but otherwise I would say keep your questions for next time for Letecia. So if you have questions, maybe you can write them down, and in our next webinar on the 13th of March. So we are on a full moon, and the next one is going to be a waxing moon. So we're working on with moons, and Letecia, she's going to be talking about her wonderful life and praxis of a high priestess of the Dianic religion. But I would like to leave the last words to Letecia. And I really am very honored that she came to this webinar. It was wonderful to have you for the first part. So please.
Yes, I'm just going to read from the Holy Book, the Dianic Genesis, which is sort of our creation, our cosmic creation story. In the beginning, there was an unknowable silence. She had an unknowable name which echoed through the universe. The power of this name that no one shall utter filled the universe with action. Silence broke into the components, lights and shadows. From the lights, action made form. From the shadows, formlessness. Visible, invisible, She created a blend of the two we know today as nature. In this blend of form and formless, lights and shadow, visible and invisible, she created all the creatures, making infinite variations of herself as the birthing force and the different forms of her where she is not so clearly visible, the birthed in form. She intermingled with herself as she was never divided, and created our solar system, our mother planet, and all the creatures upon it. Among the creatures she ordained, all species will know her either through instinct or through search, but all she created will periodically return to her holiness and then again take form inside her. And ever since, the world has had a blend of the visible forms, female and male, a blend of the invisible forms, self-love and self-hate. The divine mixing of these creates reality, for her essence is present in all. But her forms do not conform to temporary social orders. She is the circle of rebirth. Thus, we celebrate the moment in our lives as we honor to her, she whose genesis is still happening, she who has not returned to any comfortable heaven to watch over or forget us. She who still creates all reality daily, she who is visible and invisible in nature, she whose name is secret, she who rules the universe, the force of life and death, and all that is in between. She is all. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful to all of you, wonderful women. So I would like to do a checkout now with just one word, each of you, of gratitude, and also think about one little thing that you can do tomorrow to make the goddess shine. One little thing, and then we will say goodbye for the next time, which is going to be the 13th of March with Letecia as a High Priestess, Life and Praxis. So if you want to, I can start, and I'm going to say that my word of gratitude is you are wonderful. I mean, I'm so excited to have seen you all. So it's more than one word, but and one thing is I'm going to do a little prayer to the goddess tomorrow for everyone. And I pass it to Ute.
So, you meant me?
Yes, one word of gratitude and one little action that you can do tomorrow to make this world a goddess world.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to say thank you. It's always amazing to meet all these wonderful women and to see that the goddess is really growing, more and more growing in our hearts and our lives. And I'm really, really, yes, happy and thankful and gratitude about that. I pass to the next, to Mariah.
Maybe it's me? No. Yeah. Well, my word is gratitude by itself, so I'm very grateful to be here. And one thing that I can do for the goddess is be more barefoot. I'll do that.
Good idea.
And I'll pass it to Francesca.
My word of gratitude is connection, because I was with you and with some of you that was a lot of time that I didn't see, and so I'm happy about it. For tomorrow, I would like to walk in the country and try to perceive her presence in the nature. She's everywhere, but in the nature sometimes it's more easy, it's easier. So I hope to do that. Thank you. And I pass to Carmen.
Oh, hello. Yes, I want to say peace, and I wish we can all connect us through the universe and live in peace. Yes, and tomorrow I will see the water here in Düsseldorf, our beautiful river flowing, and this is my connection.
And you pass it too?
Yeah. So I give to, I don't know, to you, Angela. We have met at the festival. I love you. Woo.
Yes.
Yes.
I would say with much love to you all, a big heart. Thank you so much. Really was wonderful. And tomorrow I am going to walk and bring some flowers to my Virgin Mary, and I'm going to talk to her. And I give my word to Jen.
Thank you. Let's see. Well, my word is blessed be. And tomorrow I'll light a candle to Sekhmet.
So to who do you pass it?
Sorry. Claudia.
Thank you. Okay. Jen, thank you all for sure. My word is trust. And maybe this is the first step for starting in the new year, to be in trust and in optimism that in our connection or through or with our connection with our strength, the reclaiming of the goddesses in us is possible. And to set another step for this, tomorrow I will have a look in the mirror and try to see the goddess inside me.
It's a great idea.
And I pass to Elizabeth.
Thank you. Hi, guys, ladies. My word is light. I think a lot of the rooms I'm in recently have felt very dark, and this room is full of a lot of bright lights. And so it has filled my cup for hopefully a long time to come. And I'll also be in water tomorrow and plan to meet one of the most prominent goddesses in my life, Orisha Yamaya, there. And I'll pass it to, who hasn't gone? Did Francesca go?
Yes.
No. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Jennifer?
Oh, okay. Super.
Yeah, it's not my computer, so it's not my name showing on the profile. I want to express deep gratitude for this space that was created, for having been able to hear Letecia, and to Sabina for having put this topic on my radar a year and a half ago. I was sharing with Jennifer that it's still very new to me, and I'm thankful for this new awareness, which tomorrow I will try to honor when I'm in nature and observing her presence. And another act I will do is to reconnect with you, Sabina, because I need in this area. I need some examples, some women who are walking this path, because I don't have any around me, and I really need to to have some inspiration, have somebody to show the way a little bit. So thank you for this. Thank you.
Who do you pass it, Sonia?
I don't, Maria, you've been?
I think that's Marie who is still needs to share something. Yes, thank you, Sonia. Marie?
You need to unmute, Marie.
Thank you. My heart is filled with gratitude and much joy and love and light, and I'm very grateful to finally reconnecting with you all again. I haven't been connected since I came back from Crete last year, where I love going every year, where I meet my friend Claudia, and now I'm happy I saw Jennifer. I heard so much about you, Jennifer, so now I saw you for the first time. And the way I honor the goddess is actually every morning I put on my candles and I say a prayer. And I will continue working on my presentations for the Jung Institute, which is really exciting to me. And I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity to share my thoughts, all your thoughts with them. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So
I think Bond needs to go.
All right.
You're going? Yes. No, but are you sharing with us?
Yes, he needs to share.
My word is for God is mentoring. As I mentioned earlier, I'm very concerned about young women who don't have any real mentors, don't know the goddess. And there's one in particular I'm starting to adopt her. She's in very bad psychological space. So I'm putting a lot of efforts in showing young women the goddess. And that's my direction these days. And thank you so much, Letecia, for doing this. I really needed to have this. I really appreciate it. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Okay. Well, I'm going to say a word. My word is service. My gratitude word is service. It just fills me up. And my action tomorrow is being in service to this incredible group of women that have been meeting since COVID. And I get to facilitate that group. And so I feel just blessed to be able to support this incredible group of powerhouse women. So, yeah. I hope all of you find your sisterhood locally or virtually. So
locally.
Yeah.
Locally. Yeah.
Thank you, Sabina.
Thank you all for being here. I think we all spoke. So we will see each other hopefully on the 13th of March with Letecia for our second part of this beautiful webinar. Thank you all, and thank you, Letecia, so much for your beautiful work. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
The rest of the world.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.